Have you ever seen an aircraft carrier up close and personal before? If you have, then you'll understand what kind of a majestic and awe-inspiring piece of craftsmanship they are. Aircraft carriers are specialized warships that act as aquatic air bases. These ships are outfitted to roam the seven seas with flight decks, hangars, and some of the world's craziest pilots. Aircraft carriers house a variety of different aircraft, but the largest carriers have the capability of carrying helicopters and fixed-wing planes. Smaller ships may only carry helicopters, but are still an important facet of a fleet. In the age of militarization, aircraft carriers have been upgraded and outfitted to assume the duties of many otherwise land-bound locations. Since World War II, countries around the world have prioritized funding for their armed forces, and this includes the creation of amphibious bases. The United States military is best known for its newest class of aircraft carriers known as supercarriers, a nuclear-powered ship unlike any other and the largest carrier in the world. But with heightened tensions of the world continuing to escalate, other countries around the world have begun building their fleets. The versatility and advantage carriers provide is a resource that is to not be slept on any longer. It's almost hard to keep track of who has what, who is building what, and what is being upgraded. For now, the question I ask is, how many countries have aircraft carriers? The Chakri Narubet is the smallest aircraft carrier in the world in service. It's the flagship of the Royal Thai Navy and is Thailand's first and only aircraft carrier that has been commissioned. RTN, however, refers to the carrier as an offshore patrol helicopter carrier. The ship's home port is the Chuk Samet Pier Sattahip Naval Base. Its name was bestowed by His Majesty the King Bhumibol Adulyadej the Great, but at the time of her commission, she was called the HTMS Tai Chin in 2019. It was later on when the Royal Benevolent King Vajiralongkorn renamed the carrier. Commissioned in 2001, Charles de Gaulle is the flagship of the French Navy, the first French nuclear-powered surface vessel and the only nuclear-powered ship completed outside of the United States. Charles de Gaulle's namesake was a French army officer who led the Free French forces against Nazi Germany during World War II and chaired the provisional government of the French Republic from 1944 to 1946. The Russian Kirov class is technically not an aircraft carrier, but instead is a battle cruiser that helicopters sometimes take off from. Admiral Flota Sovetskogo Soyuza Kuznetsov was originally named for the Kirov class, but was changed in the 1980s when the Admiral was laid down. It serves as the flagship of the Russian Navy and was built by the Black Sea Shipyard, the sole manufacturer of Soviet-Russian aircraft carriers. Admiral Flota didn't become fully operational in the Russian Navy until 1985. The ship was initially named Riga, launched as Leonid Brezhnev, embarking in the testing phase as Tbilisi, and then was finally formally named Admiral Flota Sovetskogo Soyuza Kuznetsov, after Admiral of the Fleet Nikolai Gerasimovich Kuznetsov. She was commissioned in the Soviet Navy, intending to be the lead ship of the two-ship Admiral Kuznetsov class until its sister ship Varyag was disbanded in 1991. Juan Carlos I is the jack-of-all-trades for the Spanish Navy, or Armada Española. She is a multi-purpose amphibious assault ship aircraft carrier and replaced the decommissioned Príncipe de Asturias. She is equipped with a ski jump for STOVL operations, or short takeoff and vertical landing fixed-wing aircraft, and the McDonnell Douglas AV-8B Harrier II attack aircraft. She was named after the former King of Spain, Juan Carlos I, who ruled over the country for nearly 39 years until his abdication. Juan Carlos I plays an essential role in her fleet as a platform that replaces the Newport-class LSTS Hernan Cortez and Pizarro. She supports the mobility of the Marines and enables strategic transport of ground forces. Sovereign of the Chakri dynasty, the Chakri Narubet is the flagship of the Royal Thai Navy, RNT. This aircraft carrier is Thailand's first and only ship. It was ordered in 1992, laid down in 1994, and launched in 1996. The ship has been in commission for the RNT since 1997, nearly 30 years in action. Despite being an aircraft carrier, the Chakri Narubet is referred to by the RNT as an offshore patrol helicopter carrier. She was designed to operate an air group of VSTOL fighter aircraft and helicopters. The ship is fitted with an aircraft ski jump, though few flights take off from the runway. Initial intentions for the carrier were to operate a mixed group of Spanish AV-8S Matador Harrier VSTOL aircraft and Sikorsky SH-60 Seahawk helicopters, but by 1999, only one Matador was operational. Due to a lack of parts, mechanical training, and fiscal limitations of the RNT, the entire Harrier jet fleet was removed from service in 2006. Chakri Narubet was intended to patrol the Thai waters and force protection, but a lack of funding caused by the 1997 Asian financial crisis forced the carrier to be docked most of her career. She can usually be found at the Sattahip Naval Base. Chakri Narubet serves Thailand as an operation base protecting the nation's waterways, assisting in disaster relief, and preserving the marine environment. TCG Anadolu is Turkey's amphibious assault ship and is named after the peninsula of Anatolia, a stretch of land that forms the majority of Turkey's mass. The ship was ordered in 2016 at Sedef Shipbuilding Incorporated in Istanbul. Her keel was laid down in February of 2018. She was officially commissioned with a large ceremony on April 10th in 2023. The ship's architects used the same design as the Spanish did for Juan Carlos I. TCG Anadolu was built to meet the various needs of the Turkish armed forces, such as long endurance runs, long-distance combat, and humanitarian relief operations. She also acts as a command center and flagship for the Turkish Navy. The vessel is outfitted with weapon systems produced by the Turkish firms Aselsan and Havelsan and features a Turkish combat management system, Genesis Advent, which was integrated by said firms. Though these countries may be small and aren't often seen in conflict, aircraft carriers are often used for relief purposes, rescues, patrols, and more. Many of them, such as Thailand's Chakri dynasty, attract tourists. China, India, Italy, the United Kingdom, and Japan all have carriers of their own as well, 2 each to be specific. However, China is working toward beefing up its armed forces and has plans for additional carriers to be added down the line. India and Italy currently have additional carriers being constructed at this time with plans of their own. A common denominator we see with aircraft carriers is that the countries previously listed above only have 1, maybe 2 carriers in service at a time. It seems to be a sensible, understandable number, right? But that's never the case with the United States of America. It's go big or go home for the States. The United States currently has 11 ships in service right now. The USS Gerald R. Ford, the USS Nimitz, the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower, the USS Carl Vinson, USS Theodore Roosevelt, USS Abraham Lincoln, USS George Washington, USS John C. Stennis, USS Harry S. Truman, the USS Ronald Reagan, and the USS George H.W. Bush. These mighty vessels can hold 75-plus aircraft at a time, and in addition to the U.S.'s aircraft carriers, there are 9 additional vessels outfitted for helicopter operations. The USS Gerald R. Ford is the lone vessel of her class and is the largest carrier and warship ever built in history. She was delivered to the Navy on May 31, 2017, and formally commissioned on July 22 in 2017. Ford-class carriers are nuclear-powered monsters of the ocean. They're considered and commonly referred to as supercarriers. The U.S. plans to acquire 10 of these ships in order to replace the Nimitz-class carriers on a one-for-one basis. The new vessels have a similar hull to the Nimitz class but carry updated technology such as the Electromagnetic Aircraft Launch System, or EMALS, and other features intended to improve efficiency and reduce operating costs. The USS John F. Kennedy is the next ship to arrive in the Ford-class fleet, scheduled to be commissioned sometime in 2025. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. Until next time.